Let's talk multiplicity for a second. Let's talk about this idea of, let's look at a basic example and then we'll jump into full speed into multiplicity. So there's this concept that we've been discussing, and that is that if we have our zeros, like so for example, if we have x equals -5, x equals -1, x is equal to 4, and x is equal to 5, then those would be called our zeros, and it would be a fourth degree function because of the fact that I have 4 of them. And from there then we could find our factors, and so our factor would be x plus 5 and x plus 1 and x minus 4 and x minus 5, and those would be called our factors. And if we were absolutely needed to, we could actually take and we could FOIL all of those together, and we would come out with the polynomial, and it would be something like x to the 4th plus something something something, and it would be this big long polynomial that we could put together. But the key thing that I want to discuss here is, and tie together, is this idea that we've got these zeros and we've got the factors and how we can continue to go back and forth, and then from there we want to add in this new idea of multiplicity. And what does multiplicity mean? So multiplicity has certain characteristics on a graph, but in an equation it looks a certain way also. And so when you think of multiplicity, I hope what you're seeing is multiple. It's like to be times 2 or times 1 or whatever it is. So in this particular case right here, we see that we start off and we have a 0 at 8 with multiplicity of 1. So we have x is equal to 8, and that happens just one time. And then we have the next one is x is equal to 4. You can see it right here. I'll change colors. So x is equal to 4, but that one happens twice. So 2 times. Oops, I changed the way I wrote it. Sorry about that. And that one happens 2 times. So when I write my factors, remember those are my zeros. So when I go and I write my factors now for this guy would be x minus 8 because that 0 happens just one time. However, this one would be x minus 4, x minus 4, because that particular 0 happens not once but twice. It has multiplicity. Take a look at the next one here. Same concept. We go through and we list our zeros. So our zeros would be x equals -6, that has multiplicity of 1, and x equals 4, and that has multiplicity of 2. It happens 2 times. So I come down here and I start writing it out, so that means that my factors would be x plus 6, and then it would be x minus 4, x minus 4, because that one happens 2 times. So rolling right along to the next thought, the next process, well, what if it happens if it goes the other way? What if they give me the factors and they want me to give them the zeros? So in this case here, we use the zero product property, and the zero product property says I take each one of these terms. So here's a term, here's a term, excuse me, that's not, let me back up, not called a term, just called a factor. And terms are separated by addition or subtraction. So I take those terms and I set each one of them equal to 0. So -9 is equal to 0, x minus 9 is equal to 0, and x plus 3 squared is equal to 0. So translated that over, we start working through this. This one goes away, like it just, because that can't happen. So it's not really a factor. It's just a coefficient, or what's the word I'm looking for? It'll come to me in just a minute. Here I would solve this one, so I'd say plus 9, which is just the opposite of what I've been doing on the other ones when I've been going from my zeros to my factors. And so that gives me x is equal to +9 with multiplicity of 1, meaning it happens one time. This guy, I can see here that it's square. That means it happens twice. So I just take the x plus 3, set it equal to 0, solve it, -3 minus 3, x is equal to 3 with multiplicity of 2, meaning that that particular 0 happens not once but twice because of its degree. Alright, so that's kind of going from our factors to our multiplicity, or our multiplicity to our factors. We'll do this one last one just real quick to wrap this video up. And so in this case here, we'll just jump more into it. Remember, these are called my factors. So if I wanted to list my zeros, I would get x is equal to 1 with multiplicity of 3. Because the exponent is 3, that means that particular factor happens 3 times. And this would be x is equal to negative 7 with multiplicity of 2, meaning it happens 2 times. Multiplicity and how it affects our polynomial.